You're preparing for an important interview but feel worried because you're not confident in your English yet? Don't worry. Welcome to Learning English HTC, where we help you conquer every interview in English with ease. Get ready. Let's get started now.
Good morning, Emma. Thanks for coming in today. How are you doing?
Good morning, Jack. I'm doing well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to interview with HTC.
Great to hear. Let's start by talking a bit about your background. You've recently graduated from Polytechnic University, right?
Yes, I graduated with a degree in information security. During my studies, I focused on system security, cryptography, and network protection.
What does system security mean to you, and why is it critical in today's technology landscape?
To me, system security refers to the protection of computer systems and networks from unauthorized access, data breaches, or other cyber threats. It's critical because systems are constantly exposed to risks, especially with the rise of cloud computing and remote work. A single vulnerability can be exploited and lead to significant damage.
Well said. Can you walk me through the core components of a secure system?
Sure, I'd say the core components include authentication and access control to ensure only authorized users can access systems, encryption to protect data in transit and at rest, firewalls and intrusion detection prevention systems, IDS/IPS, for monitoring and defending the network, patch management to keep systems up to date, audit logs and monitoring for tracking and responding to incidents. Each of these components contributes to a defense-in-depth approach.
What tools or technologies have you worked with during your studies or personal projects related to cybersecurity?
I've used tools like Wireshark for packet analysis, Metasploit for learning about penetration testing, and Nessus for vulnerability scanning. I've also practiced using Snort for intrusion detection and worked with VirtualBox and Kali Linux to simulate attack defense scenarios.
Have you had experience working with any security frameworks or standards?
I've studied and applied concepts from NIST and ISO/IEC 27001 during school projects. For example, in one assignment, we mapped a security plan based on NIST's cybersecurity framework to protect a small business's IT infrastructure.
Imagine you're responsible for securing a company's internal systems, and you discover that some servers haven't been patched in over 6 months. What would you do?
First, I would assess the risks associated with those unpatched servers, checking for known vulnerabilities and their severity. Then I'd prioritize patching based on risk, coordinate with system administrators to schedule updates with minimal disruption, and make sure that future patch management is enforced through a regular update policy.
Good. Let's say a user reports a suspicious email. How would you respond?
I'd advise the user not to interact with the email and collect it as evidence. I'd analyze the email headers and any attachments in a secure sandbox environment, then check if similar phishing attempts were reported. Depending on the results, I'd update email filters, inform the team, and consider further awareness training for employees.
What do you understand about risk management in system security?
Risk management involves identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks to an organization's IT assets. It's about understanding threats and vulnerabilities, calculating potential impacts, and implementing controls to reduce risks to an acceptable level.
And how would you participate in an incident response team?
As part of the incident response team, I'd help in identifying the breach, containing it quickly to prevent further damage, analyzing the root cause, and working on recovery. I'd also document the incident, suggest preventive measures, and contribute to post-mortem reviews to improve future responses.
What motivated you to pursue a career in system security?
I've always been curious about how systems work and how to protect them. I see cybersecurity not just as a technical field, but also as a responsibility. It gives me purpose knowing I can help prevent attacks that could harm people or companies.
That's great to hear. HTC values teamwork. Can you share how you've collaborated with others in group projects or labs?
Definitely. In our capstone project, I worked with a team of 5 where we designed a mock secure network for a startup. We divided tasks, held daily sync-ups, and resolved conflicts through open communication. It taught me a lot about coordination and accountability.
Thanks, Emma. I'm impressed with your passion and foundational knowledge. Although you're just starting out, you seem well prepared and enthusiastic.
Thank you, Jack. I'm eager to learn and grow in a real-world environment, and I'd love the chance to contribute to HTC's security efforts. Welcome to the second sample interview questions for sales staff.
Good morning, Emma. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Good morning, Jack. I'm doing great, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to interview with HTC.
We're happy to have you here. So, before we dive into the technical part, could you briefly introduce yourself and tell me why you're interested in system security?
Sure, I recently graduated from Polytechnic University with a major in computer science. During my studies, I became really interested in cybersecurity, especially in how systems can be protected from various types of attacks. I completed several academic projects related to network security, encryption, and ethical hacking. I'm excited about the opportunity to begin my career in this field, and HTC's reputation in technology innovation really motivates me.
Great. Let's start with some fundamentals. Can you explain what the CIA triad is and how it applies to system security?
The CIA triad stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's a core model in information security. Confidentiality ensures that data is only accessible to authorized individuals. Integrity means the data remains accurate and unaltered. Availability ensures that systems and data are accessible when needed. System security involves implementing controls and countermeasures to maintain all 3 aspects, like using access controls for confidentiality, checksums or hashes for integrity, and failover mechanisms for availability.
Excellent. Moving on. What are some common types of cyber attacks that a system security specialist needs to guard against?
Some of the most common ones include phishing attacks, which trick users into revealing sensitive information; DDoS, distributed denial of service, where attackers flood a system with traffic to make it unavailable; SQL injection, where malicious queries are inserted into databases; zero-day exploits, which target unknown vulnerabilities; man-in-the-middle attacks, which intercept communication between systems. Preventing these requires both proactive measures and reactive incident response.
What tools or technologies are you familiar with that support system security?
I've worked with tools like Wireshark for network monitoring and Nmap for vulnerability scanning. I've also explored Snort for intrusion detection and basic use of Metasploit for penetration testing labs. For secure communication, I've implemented SSL/TLS in small projects and used GPG for file encryption. I also have a foundational understanding of firewalls, antivirus software, and secure network architecture.
That's impressive for someone just starting out. What's the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption?
Symmetric encryption uses the same key for both encryption and decryption. It's faster but less secure when it comes to key distribution. Asymmetric encryption uses a pair of keys, a public key for encryption and a private key for decryption. It's more secure for communication between parties that haven't shared a secret key beforehand. A common example is RSA.
Let's talk a bit about access control. Can you explain the difference between RBAC and ABAC?
Sure. RBAC stands for Role-Based Access Control. Access permissions are assigned based on a user's role within an organization. ABAC is Attribute-Based Access Control. It's more flexible, as it grants access based on attributes like user, resource, environment conditions, etc. ABAC allows for more granular control, but RBAC is easier to manage in simpler environments.
Let's imagine you're working at HTC and you notice unusual outbound traffic from one of the servers. What steps would you take to investigate and respond?
First, I'd isolate the affected server to prevent further data exfiltration. Then, I'd review logs using tools like syslog or SIEM systems to identify the source and pattern of the traffic. I'd run malware and rootkit scans, and if a compromise is confirmed, I'd initiate incident response protocols, document findings, notify appropriate teams, and help with remediation. Afterwards, I'd analyze how the breach occurred and suggest ways to strengthen our defenses.
Good structured response. Here's another one. How would you ensure the security of a newly developed internal web application before it goes live?
I'd start with threat modeling to identify potential vulnerabilities, then conduct static and dynamic code analysis, use automated tools like OWASP ZAP for vulnerability scanning, and perform penetration testing. I'd also ensure input validation, enforce secure authentication and session management, implement HTTPS, and conduct security audits before deployment. Continuous monitoring after launch is also crucial.
Emma, you've shown strong foundational knowledge for a fresh graduate. Before we end, do you have any questions for me or about the role?
Yes, thank you. I'd love to know more about the security team at HTC. How is the team structured, and what kind of mentorship or training programs are available for entry-level hires?
Great question. Our security team is composed of specialists in network, cloud, and application security. For new hires, we offer a structured onboarding process, including mentorship from senior engineers, access to certifications like CompTIA Security Plus or CEH, and hands-on experience with real-world projects. We're committed to helping you grow.
That sounds like a wonderful environment to begin a career in. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, Emma. Thanks again for your time today. We'll be in touch soon after we've completed our evaluations.
Thank you, Jack. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for watching today's video. I hope these tips will help you feel more confident in your English interviews. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any valuable content in the future.